So do you see the Operation Zero Employees by Patric Chan, Module 1, the business breakthrough mindset? Can you see the image there? All right, so okay, fantastic. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so 1, 2, 3. If you are ready to get started, just type ready there. Okay, so I have like lots of ready coming in, so I'm pretty sure that everyone can hear and see. Now, I'm very excited to share with you today's training for Operation Zero Employees Program for Module 1, the Business Breakthrough Mindset. Now, once you've gone through this training, you understand how important it is and why we go through the Business Breakthrough Mindset training before we go through the technicality of it, the steps, the strategies, and so forth. So, in this training, we're going to have 2 sessions. One is the overall online business breakthrough mindset, and the other one is the Operation Zero Employees breakthrough mindset. So let's start from the very beginning. What do I mean by the very beginning? The very beginning is this, is that what is an online business? Right? Now, what is an online business? Now, what do you think an online business is? Go ahead and type in the comment box there. Just so you know, there's some lagging, which means that whenever I ask you a question, it may take a while to get the response. And anyway, the chat box is now private, which means that only I can see it. So it doesn't really matter whether you get it right or wrong. Okay. All right. So there are some response, all kinds of responses coming in. Now, let me share with you what is an online business. It's a business on the internet that uses digital marketing to promote it. Now, to me, this is very profound. Although it is very simple, it's very simplified. Now, let's look at it again. It's a business. So it is not a hobby. It is not something that you create so that it makes money for you. It's a business, right? And this business happens to be on the internet instead of the offline world. And instead of you talking to people, making phone calls, it uses digital marketing to promote the business. And because it's using the internet, there are some benefits to it. The first one is that with an online business, it's highly scalable. Now, for instance, if you have an offline business, let's say you have an accounting firm, right? It's sort of hard for you to scale because it's limited to your demographic, your location, and also your manpower, unless you open up more offices and so on. So it's relatively hard for you to scale. With online business, it's very, very, I would say, convenient for you to scale because if it is working, you can just figure out new ways on how to drive more traffic to it. You can figure out how you can create more products. You can figure out how to, say, create more income streams. So it is a type of business that's highly scalable. And this is a key because if you look at, say, today's billionaires, right? Many of them are actually involved in business that are related with the internet. It is somehow internet related type of businesses because if you look at it again, all these billionaires, right, they are profound in terms of how they scale the business by using the internet in that sense. The next thing is that it can be partially automated. Now, what do I mean by partially automated? Like, for instance, fulfillment aspect. This can be automated to a certain degree. Responding towards customer support. This can be partially automated. Marketing, this can be automated. You can automate the traffic promotion and so on. It is not fully automated because it is still a business and business needs to be managed. Just think, even a server, right? A server that hosts websites. Now, can that run by itself, like by doing nothing? No, you need to maintain the server so that it doesn't break down. There are software in it and so on. So it is automated, but it is partially automated. And the next thing is that it is much lower cost. Why? Because your infrastructure, it is at a lower cost. For instance, if you have an accounting firm, you need to have an office. You need to have some furniture, decorations, renovations, and all of those. With the internet, the cost is mostly related to your website and the operation cost to run the business. And at the same time, it's much more higher profit margin, especially if you are involved with the digital product business. Because with digital product business, well, your profit margin in I would say in a way how you look at it is 100% profit, right? I mean, how much it costs for someone to download a video, how much it costs for someone to download an ebook, right? It's very, very minimal cost to you, which is almost as good as 100% profit. So this is what the internet allows you to achieve, which also brings up to the next point here, that it is not free to build on the internet. Now, what do I mean by that? Because the internet is so-called free. I mean, you go to google.com, you can search for a lot of free things. You go to YouTube, you can watch a lot of free videos and so forth. And this actually sort of created the mindset that because a lot of things are free and the internet, we're not talking about your subscription with the telco company, but the internet, it is free, right? But to build a business, it is not free. There are costs to build the business on the internet. The next thing is that you won't quote unquote make money because you have a website or you are online. Now, let me say this again. You won't make money because you have a website or you are online. Now, I know this sounds kind of funny, but believe me or not, right? There are people who think that if they put up their website on the internet, tomorrow someone will come to the website and this person will actually buy the product. Or if they have their product listed online for some funny reason, right? Whether it's in Amazon or in uh, uh, Lazada.com or any marketplace, somehow people will go and buy their stuff. So that is the mindset that many people sort of have. To illustrate a real life example, one day, during a big celebration, I was at my friend's house, right? And my friend, he, right? His mother do slippers, like, handmade slippers. And her mother will actually take these slippers and go to the market and put up a so-called stall and sell the slippers there. Now, so this is handmade slippers, like really nice slippers. And when I was at my friend's place for the celebrative season that time, my friend's mom approached me and say, "Hey, I heard you know how to do this internet marketing stuff, this digital marketing, online business, and so on." So she said to me, "Well, can you please help me to put my slippers online to sell? Because hey, you know how to do that." So now here's the interesting part, and I'm telling you, this is the truth. And before I can answer whether I can do it or I cannot do it, you know what did she say? She paused and her face sort of changed, and she said this to me. Hey, wait. You know what? Forget about my favor, because there will be too many people buying my slippers, and I won't have the time to do it because it's handmade. So don't put on the internet for me because I wouldn't be able to handle the business. I wouldn't able to handle the sales. Now that's what my friend's mom thinks, that if I was to somehow like put out a website and just put it on the internet, her business will just blossom and she'll have like too many sales to handle. Now I know I'm sharing this to you, it sounds like funny, but I kid you not, many people still think the same, especially those people who are browsing the internet looking for the magic pill, or those who are attending seminars looking for the magic pill. Believe me or not, you can let me know in the comment. I will see that later on. So for now, let me just continue with you that what an online business is not, is that there's no such thing as do nothing and make passive income, right? Like do nothing and then there will be passive income coming in, because the internet is full of these promises, right? In fact, they will say if you buy some software, within the next 7 minutes, you'll be making your first $100 or something like that. Now, I'm not here to slam against all of those stuff, right? I'm bringing up something that will help my clients to have a breakthrough. So now, if this doesn't resonate with you, if I tell you that there's no such thing as do nothing but passive income and you don't like what I'm telling you, then you can stop this program, you can stop this training, you can stop my coaching and so on, and go and find someone who promised you that and try to use that and see whether it works or not. After that, you can come and find me again and tell me how it turns out to be. Because I don't have such thing as do nothing but passive income. Now, what I have is do something where something is a system and the system can help you to generate income. Now, you can call it passive if you want to, in the sense that, like for instance, like today I'm not working, right? But yet I'm still getting sales because of the effort or the system that I set up previously. But tomorrow I may be working. Tomorrow I may be doing another system. I may be tweaking my system and so on. Then the next day I may not be working. So that is the concept of passive income. There is no such thing as like do nothing and there's passive income coming in. I believe passive income comes in from investment, which is totally unrelated in today's training or my training. So my advice to my clients is very simple. I teach them how to build business, and when they make money, I would suggest them to go and invest so that they can grow the money. So I'm off tangent a bit, but I'm giving you this advice because when you make money, right, what you need to do is to find places, to find ways how the money in your hand can grow on its own. And that goes through investment. Make sense, everyone? Just go ahead and type yes there. I saw Danny giving me a yes with exclamation mark there. So because it's a business, so we must understand internet business, or should I say online business, is a business. Treat it like a business for you to succeed, because you're going to go into the realm of being an entrepreneur or a businessman or a businesswoman, however you want to call your title as. But you are involved with a business, right? Treat it as a business so that you can succeed. And when you treat it as a business, you will understand this, especially if you right now attending this training is an entrepreneur, is running your own offline online business. I think this will resonate very well with you. A business needs to be built. When you first start the business, it's impossible for it to grow on its own. In fact, even if you buy like so-called a business from someone else, you still need to build it, because when you have it, you got to do something with it, right? It can't just come out from nowhere. It needs to be built. Next, there are operation costs in a business. But of course, the good news is, because we are with the internet right now, right? Our operation cost has drastically reduced. And when you go through later modules and so on, you will start to see how I use all kinds of tools, operations, to accelerate the business, to automate the business, and so on. And like I said, relatively, they are very, very, very cost effective, or should I say low cost, compared to your typical conventional offline business. Next is that despite what you heard or read, it is not overnight. There's no overnight success. Now, I use the word read is because if you read most so-called business books or motivational books and so on, they talk about their success, how they achieve success, talk about the success story of this and that and so on. But they forgot to mention, right, all of the failures. I want to tell you a secret, right? When I read books, do you know that I read old books than today's book? Now, what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. Right. In order, okay, let's take example Jack Ma, because everyone knows him in the sense that his name is a household brand right now. Jack Ma, Alibaba.com. If you want to talk about Jeff Bezos, Amazon.com, it's up to you, right? I'm using both of these names because they are in the e-commerce space. Now, when I read books about Jack Ma, I read the old books about Jack Ma. Why? Because I want to know how he achieved success or when he was struggling to achieve success. You see, if today you want to learn how someone achieves success, let's say you want to model me, let's say, right? What you should be doing is that you should see how I built my business 10 years ago and not just how I build my business right now. Because it is the 10 years ago mindset and the attitude that brings me to achieve what I have today. Does that make sense? So that is my secret. When I learn about success, I see someone who want to model and then look back when he or she is on the way to achieve success. Then I combine with the knowledge of how he is doing that right now. If that makes sense to you, just type makes sense. So having the right expectation will bring you success. It's really, really, really that simple. In other words, if you don't have the right expectation for your business, you're not going to achieve success because that will be like trying to build castle in the clouds. So again, that's the reason why so many people do not or will never ever have a breakthrough because they read a lot of motivational books. They have all this kind of expectation like, hey, within the next 30 days I want to achieve that, I want to achieve this and so on. I want to be like Patric Chan. I want all of this, right? So how do you define your expectation? As you can see, my training, it's in a way it's a very practical approach where we are more focused towards being strategic than coming up with tricks, tips, or tactics. Your expectation, to know your expectation, like what kind of success that you're going to have, right? Your expectation is going to be based on the resources and the knowledge that you have. So if you expect to make X amount of dollars, very simple. You just need to fall back and see the amount of resources that you have at this moment of time and the level of knowledge that you have. If you have both of those and you're confident with it, then you can expect whatever expectation that you want to achieve. Right? For instance, let's take me for example, right? My expectation is to make another 10 million in the next 5 years, right? And to me, that is doable because I so-called calculated the resources that I have. I would be able to do that. And the knowledge that would take me to a 10 million within the next 5 years. So this is how you will know your expectation. But let's say you are not too sure about your expectation, as in like you do not know how much resources that you have right now or the level of knowledge that you have, because it is fair to say that we do not know what we do not know, right? So the knowledge that we have today, we could think that, hey, this is enough, or we could say that I'm very knowledgeable, or we could say that I'm below the level of being knowledgeable, right? Because we do not know what we do not know. And that's the reason why some clients have mentors, have coaches, right? Because mentors are the one who are able to so-called review your progress or know how much knowledge that you have, because the mentor, I would say, preferably would be more knowledgeable in the domain that he's trying to learn. So he or she will be able to access the level of knowledge that you have at this stage. Now, but if you do not have any of those, then I will give you the suggestion, right? And I would say that you want to focus on your first $1,000. Like in this case, with Operation Zero Employees Program, that my expectation is to make my first $1,000. Why $1,000? Very simple. It's very doable. And secondly, the amount is so-called good enough to celebrate. I mean, if I say the first $100, I mean, that would be a little bit way below expectation, right? Because $100, it's you don't need a system. You need luck to make $100, right? But in order for you to make $1,000, you got to be doing something right, that you are on the right path. So If you don't have any expectation, that's okay. So the minimum that you should look at is the first $1,000, right? So before I continue to the next one, I want to hear from you in the chat there. Does this so far make sense to you that you're getting it? I want to also know to make sure that the video and the audio, it is showing perfectly well at your end. All right, so I got Ali confirm, Moose confirm, Jay confirm. Okay, great. So let's continue from here. Thanks for the confirmation. I truly appreciate them. And when you respond, I get more excited because I know I'm not like talking to a computer, that I know you're still there, right? And the most ironic part with the internet is that I cannot see you. That's past. I need to assume that you are there. So the next key thing that I want to share with you, which I'm very excited to share with you, is the 6 rules of online business breakthrough. This is where you switch your mindset and change it to a so-called breakthrough level.